Hey everybody, I'm Pastor Bill from Open Door Baptist Church in Morehead City, and thanks for coming back for another word of encouragement. These are weekday videos that we put out to help us all to get our eyes off of the messaging and the media, really, of the world around us, especially during these days of upheaval and discouragement, and to get our eyes back focused onto God's words of encouragement in His Bible. And today we're going to do that by taking a look at a brief passage in the book of Jonah. The book of Jonah, which of course details the single missionary journey of the prophet Jonah. We're going to begin in chapter 3. And at this point, the parts of Jonah that are probably most popular and familiar have already passed. The parts where God calls him to go to the people of Nineveh, he actually disobeys and tries to run away from his mission. God arrests him in that with a storm. He's sinking down in the water. He's swallowed up by a great fish, and the fish, more obedient than Jonah was, delivers him up onto the shores of Nineveh. And he finally, at this point, has made his way to the second iteration of the Lord's mission for him. And it goes like this, beginning in chapter 3. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it with the message that I tell you." So Jonah arose and went to Nineveh according to the word of the Lord. Now Nineveh was an exceedingly great city, 3 days' journey in breadth. Jonah began to go into the city, going a day's journey, and he called out, "Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown." And the people of Nineveh believed God. They called for a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least of them. And the reason that I chose this passage for today, and really the highlight of encouragement that I wanted to share with you from this passage, is the fact that God can take a disobedient mouthpiece, a disobedient and really quite bitter prophet. He can catch him in his running in disobedience, turn him around, and with the simplest of really weak messages, just the message of wrath, God can use that in the people of Nineveh to bring them to repentance and faith in God. Did you hear that? That just with the message of 40 days and Nineveh will be overturned, the people of Nineveh believed God. They believed what the prophet was saying, and they turned in repentance and sorrow for their sin and for their evil, and they came to God in humility. And so many times, you and I think that our message has to be polished or has to be in some way wise or strong or have just the right words to give to our friends and family, but that's just not the case. God's power is at work in God's message to do God's work, to bring God's glory into focus. So take that with you today as a word of encouragement.